Jane. Hi, Brian and Linda. Hi. Tamara. I'm saying hi to people online. They're logging in. I always ask them to say hello. Could you put your water thing outside? Yeah, just in one of the cubbies is fine.
What's that?
In one of the cubbies is fine. Anytime outside. Thank you. Appreciate that. We'll get started in just a minute. I know, one of these days soon, guys. But only when it's safe for you guys. Start. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness class. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight, as it is every Wednesday that I'm here with you. Hello to all the people online who have always already have said their hellos. Is there anybody here at the Dharma Bum Temple for the very first time? Nice. Well, welcome. Did your friend bring you here? Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Is there anybody here who is maybe not the first time to the Dharma Bum Temple, but this is your first time to Wednesday? Okay, awesome. Thank you again. All right, so this is the class on loving kindness. That's the word you're familiar with hearing. The word that we're actually talking about in Buddhism is metta, this wonderful word metta, M-E-T-T-A. And when this word metta is translated into English 2,500 years later, it can mean a lot of different things. So it can mean loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, and it's simply a wish to be happy, a wish for ourselves to be happy, and a wish for others to be happy. And more importantly, a wish for ourselves and others to do the things that cause happiness. A lot of times, when we repeat phrases, we say, "May you have happiness and the causes of happiness." That, to me, that's always a strange phrase, even though that's what you want, But we want people to do the things that cause happiness. Now, what causes happiness? You might be asking. Well, if you know the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple, you know what causes happiness. And that is, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. And that's it. Those three things are a big cause of happiness. And in this practice, we learn to do how to do those things, why to do those things. Because one of the things I really like about Buddhism is we don't say, like, you have to do this, you better do this, or there's some bad consequences that are going to happen. We say, here are our practices, And here's why we do these practices, because they are literally causes for happiness. The precepts of not harming that we take when we become a Buddhist, the think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, all of those things cause happiness because they're not harming anybody. They're actually helping people. And the reason why you do these things is a couple of things. One is that it helps you understand the basics of karma, right? You can understand the basics of karma, right? Positive actions lead to positive mind states, or positive thoughts lead to positive mind states, and negative actions lead to negative mind states. If you practice this enough, you'll see that that's true. And the other thing that it does is it gives you an idea of right understanding. And if you know anything about the Buddhist Eightfold Path, the first part of the Buddhist Eightfold Path is right understanding or right view. Same thing. Come on in. Welcome. All right. So is anyone here brand new to meditation? All right, good. Thank you for letting me know. Awesome. So before we kind of get into like how to sit and things like that, oops, let me get this going here. There we go. Okay. Before we get into how to sit and things like that, really quickly, is this your first time at the Darbum Temple? No? Okay. So you've been here before?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else here that's new? All right. So let's go over some seated position then. So the first thing that, hi Lori. Sorry. The first thing that we want to do is that we want to make sure that our feet are, if you're sitting in a chair anyway, that your feet are flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. If your feet don't fully go flat on the floor, you can get a cushion right there. You can get a meditation cushion here. They have them in the back, and then you can put your feet on that. And that's really, really helpful. So feel free. It's okay. A lot of people do that. There you go. All right. All right. So now, we want to make our back nice and straight. So I like to make my back super duper straight and then just kind of relax. So my core is still somewhat engaged, but I'm not kind of slouching like this either. I'm just trying to keep the spine as straight as I can. The hands can be anywhere that's comfortable. So I put my hands on my legs or in my lap or on my legs, or just put them anywhere that's comfortable. Right? Our head is nice and straight. Maybe our chin tucked in just a little bit, extending the spine. Just keep your head straight like this. That's okay too. And then the eyes are usually in the West. It's usually easier to close them, but if you don't want to close them, if it's going to kind of freak you out or kind of make you uncomfortable to close them, what you can do is you can like make sure that they're like half open, looking like 45 degrees down past your nose like that, in this kind of soft, unfocused gaze. And relax. Right? Just take it easy. So much, we bring so much of our perfectionism and our seriousness into practice, and we want to kind of try to drop that. We want to try to do the practice as best as we can, of course, but we don't want to create this environment, this internal environment of being too serious and being too critical of ourselves, which, as you know, we are too critical of ourselves so often. And so if there's any time during this meditation where it's too hard to concentrate, or you can't really understand what I'm saying, or you don't want to listen to what I'm saying, and because you can't really follow along, it's okay just to open your eyes, to stretch, to take a deep breath or two or three or four. Forget about what I'm saying or what anybody else is doing, and then just come back and try to follow along. That's okay. All right. So we are going to do this loving kindness practice, and how we're going to do it is we're going to do it for our benefactor first. So a benefactor is just anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness. Then we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. Then we're going to do it for ourselves. And then we're going to do it for all beings. Right? All right. So nice and easy. It's a kind of a modified way to do it that actually works a bit better, I think. So let's go ahead and get started. Any questions before we start? I'll just say that. Awesome. Let's go do this, guys. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice and comfortable and sustainable position so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment, ready for the day's abiding. And you can choose whatever tree you like. And just kind of make this practice your own. Just let my words just kind of wash over you. Understand what I'm saying, but there's no need to kind of read into anything that I'm saying. So at first, let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing the breath, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. For this whole meditation, we always want to maintain at least about 25% of our attention on the breath, which will anchor us to the present moment. Kind of helps us to overcome distractions, or helps us to focus on our practice and get the most out of it. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. So, to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to call to mind a benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, someone that's really easy to have these feelings for. And if you can't think of a person, just think of an act, a time when one person was kind to you in one situation, and just call this person to mind. And the only thing that you have to do is just radiate loving kindness to this person. And however you understand that word radiate, maybe during when you're radiating, you're wishing them happiness, you're wishing that they do the things that cause happiness. And of course, it always helps to smile while you're doing this. You'd be calling to mind how grateful you are for their kindness. You can have one benefactor, you can have multiple benefactors. They can be living, they can be not living. So there's a lot of flexibility here. So just for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. Now shifting our focus just a little bit from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. We already have the lived experience of our benefactor and their kindness to us. So just imagine your benefactor. Just imagine them wishing you loving kindness and just radiating loving kindness to you. Your only job here is just to receive all of their loving kindness. That's it, just to receive. And sometimes it helps to put your hand over your heart, because sometimes when we're trying to receive loving kindness, there could be a little resistance. And if there is, oh, that's okay. There could be resistance. There's no need to react to that. But can you just kind of breathe into that? Maybe giving that resistance a little space to kind of do its thing. Maybe it loosens up, maybe it doesn't. It's okay. And just receive as much of their loving kindness into your own heart as you can, while they radiate loving kindness to you. And of course, smile, as always. Always helps. So for the next few moments, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And now shifting our focus again to, can we now have this or do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves? So just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be healthy, to be free from danger. And you can either radiate loving kindness back to your own heart, or you can just repeat phrases of loving kindness. Phrases like, may I be happy, may I be safe from inner and outer danger, may I be well in body and mind, may I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can repeat just maybe one of those phrases or more, however you want to do it is fine. Or come up with your own phrase so long as it has a loving and a kind intention behind it. That's fine. Again, if you still want to put your hand over your heart, listening for any resistance, any part of your heart that says, no, I can't do this. And meet that resistance with as much kindness as possible. And just breathing into it. And smiling, of course, it always helps so much. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness, metta, unconditional friendliness and goodwill for ourselves. And finally, we can explore the limitless quality of the heart. And the heart does indeed have this limitless quality to have loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill for all beings in all directions, whatever living beings there may be. The great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, those near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be at ease, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. We do this practice for all beings in all directions. So we'll do this practice of loving kindness for all beings to end our meditation. Just open your eyes when you're ready. And just stretching your arms and stretching your legs while you keep that mindfulness of loving kindness about you just for the next minute or so, and then we will begin. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to talk about the meditation or the instructions, now's a good time to think of what those questions might be. So this part about the time after meditation is really, really important, especially if we want to make our meditation count. You know, so often, and I used to be like this sometimes, you know, your daily meditation would be a checkbox item. Like, I have to meditate. Like, I have to go to the gym, and I have to go to work, and I have to go to the grocery store. Like, check, 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 and I have to meditate, check. And we treat our meditation like a checkbox item. And, you know, so when we do that, you know, we sit and we meditate, and maybe we have some candles, and maybe we have some incense, and it creates this wonderful mood, and we do our meditation, and then we ring the bell, and immediately we get up and we go play on our phone, or we go in our car to go to work, or we go do this, or we go do that. And you know, I think it was one of my teachers. I heard about a story where he said, you know, when you do that, it's like climbing the second story to a building, then jumping out the window. You know, because you're treating your meditation just like a task that you have to do, and then you're off to the next task. So make your meditation important. When you finish your meditation, you know, make sure that you just sit there for a while. If you can sit there for like 5 minutes, just 5 minutes or 3 minutes or however long you can do it, and just sit there and keep on trying to maintain that attitude and that mindfulness of like loving kindness about you, or whatever you're meditating on. It doesn't matter. And make your meditation count for something. We're meditating for a reason. So, you know, we all have our own reasons, so we can be happier, so we can be free from suffering. It's not a task or a checkbox item that you have to accomplish during your day. You know, meditation is a practice, and, you know, one of the things that's really good to kind of think about when you're in this kind of quiet time after meditation is that, you know, we practice loving kindness not to do the seated practice, or not just to do the seated practice, but we're practicing for the rest of our day. Especially if you meditate in the morning, you're practicing for the rest of your day. You're practicing like, hey, I'm going to try to be kinder and more gentle the rest of the day. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And that's how we make our meditation important. Not just, you know, it's not just seated. In the Metta Sutta, which I've read, many times here in this class, I didn't do it tonight, but they talk about the 4 positions of meditation, which is standing, walking, seated, and lying down. Which basically the Buddha is saying that you can meditate or you can be loving and kind at any time in any position. You can do it while you're working. You can do it while you're walking. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it at any time. I'm just loving that it's cooler, just by the way. So, I'm always interested to, understand what your experience of meditation is, because it's different for everybody. I like it because there's no wrong answers. Your experience is just your experience. So if there was any part of the meditation that was easier or more difficult, that'd be interesting to know. If there was instructions that you didn't understand or want more clarification on, that would be interesting to know. If you have a question on just Buddhism, that's fine. I may or may not have the answer. Or anything else you want to talk about that's kind of Buddhist related, that'd be okay too. So I just kind of want to leave it up to you. So yeah.
I kind of had an interesting experience. Yesterday at work, actually, I got into it with a coworker.
Mm-hmm.
It's very reactive. And so instead of having the meta practice for a benefactor, I did it for them instead, coworker that I got into it with. And I think that experience, I was able to let go of a lot of the hard feelings that I had coming around that. Feel a lot softer.
Yeah.
Now. So that was wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you were flexible with the practice. And you said to yourself, what does my heart need right now? And I think my heart needs this. And you just said, yeah, I think I'm just going to do this. This person's obviously not a benefactor, but in the classical way. But you said this is what I need to do, and that's what you did, and that really worked.
Oh, and not in the classical way, but that person is a benefactor because they're my teacher right now.
Right.
So
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you. That's awesome. Oh, sorry. What does Tamara say? I'm probably telling on myself, but I'm always so surprised by how quickly I go back to that busy or anxious state of mind. Each week I'm surprised all over again at how much sitting with a group helps. Thanks, Tamara. And yeah, absolutely. Sitting with a group really helps a lot. Anybody else think so? Yeah, absolutely. It's hard for a lot of people just to sit by themselves. There's no like, when you sit in a group, there's this wonderful just kind of energy exchange. Even though you don't know anybody, you might not know anybody here, but you do know that you're here for the same reason. And there's a lot of comfort in that, because even though you don't know them, you know that you're kind of in this all together. And it's a wonderful feeling. And even if you're online, it's the same thing. You're here with your fellow meditators, and you're trying just to lessen your suffering, and you're trying to be more loving, and you're trying to be more kind, and you're trying just to kind of let go of whatever it is that you're holding on to. And to know that there are other people struggling doing the same thing. And hopefully I know that we are all struggling. And that we're in this struggle together.
I had somewhat of a paradoxical situation this past weekend where I was out in the desert and I was all by myself this beautiful sunrise, and I imagined, well, this will be so simple and so serene and so. But what happened was, it was like, since there was none of the like root or intent, all of it came toward me,
Yeah.
and it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with it. You'd think I'm on the mountaintop or whatever,
Right,
right?
right,
It's
right.
not quite that way at all. It was very interesting. I later in the day evolved into a different space, but initially my thought was, oh, no. So this is great.
Right. So you're there and you're all alone and there's no other people and there's no like city noises and other because when we sit here, sometimes we hear when like the air conditioner turns on in these condos right here, or when somebody when they're doing the dishes, when somebody's doing the dishes, or you can hear when there's cars passing outside. And when you're in the desert or wherever you were, there's nothing like that. The only thing you have are your thoughts.
It was actually kind of scary.
And that can be absolutely terrifying. Because we've never lived our life that way.
Right.
Our life has been nothing but distractions. And these distractions are very comforting to us. And we've never had just to sit there with no other sound or no other sensory input than our own thoughts. And that could be absolutely terrifying. But when you get used to that, when the mind is just going, ah! And that's what it felt like for me. When you go through that and your mind goes through that and you can just sit there and not react to that, or even just say, what's that? What's that? And breathe through that. It's like, it's not so scary after all. You're just not used to it. And again, it gets better. It gets better. Yes, hi.
Hi, Harriet.
Hi.
Can you comment on meditating with your eyes open and when that's beneficial?
So can I comment on meditating with your eyes open and when that's beneficial? So in different traditions, they have different instructions. Like a lot of times the Tibetan tradition, they just meditate with their eyes open. A lot of them do anyway. It's kind of more, your eyes are open, but they're not really kind of focused on anything necessarily. And that's what their instructions are. And, I have found that for Westerners, that's a little much. And so that's why there's, different instructions for different people. And that's okay. Just do what you can do. I love the flexibility of this practice. So you can meditate with your eyes just kind of halfway closed. And you see, if you take a look at a lot of these tankas here, a lot of these pictures and a lot of these statues of the Buddha or different incarnations of the Buddha, and they're always half closed. They're always half closed, just kind of looking down in this kind of soft, unfocused gaze. And so, that's why you can give that instruction, because you see it everywhere. So just do what you can do. A lot of times, people don't like to close their eyes because then thoughts come. Like a lot of thoughts come a lot of times when you close your eyes. And sometimes people with who are dealing with PTSD, that's too hard. Like they don't need or want anything like that. And that's perfectly fine. That's why you can do it half closed. You could do it open. I'm not that familiar with a specific technique about meditating with your eyes open and what that is like, or what you should do with your eyes, or what the kind of recollection is. But I do know that is a technique that they use in some other schools. Yes, ma'am.
What does the Buddha say about reciprocity? If balance. Because it seems like a lot of times if you, well, my experience is like you're just a natural giver, or you're raised as giving and caring. I mean, you were raised at that level, and it's like, it's not common. So, I mean, what does he say about that? Because it's like, it's unbalanced, because, you know, it's just unbalanced if you're the one always giving and kind, and, you know, it's just part of your upbringing. So it's like, what does he say about that?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, especially when we're talking about like loving kindness and compassion, which is just another heart practice, and being empathetic, and being caring, and there's a couple of things, and I've talked about one of them before, and a lot of times when you're very compassionate and caring and giving, and that's all you do.
It's just, you know.
Not you, I'm not saying you, but when people, when they get overloaded about that just suggests that there's not a lot of equanimity there. Yeah. Which is, equanimity is another, what you would know as balance. Right? So you have compassion and you want to be giving, but you know your limits. You know that I can only do this much, and I know you're still hurting, but this is all I'm able to do for you. And I have to be happy with this. And I know that these other people they're suffering, but I'm just not able to do anything for them right now. I'm only able to do what I can do. And that's a hard balance to strike, especially for a lot of people, especially if you're like in a helping profession, like if you're a nurse or like a social worker, or, something like that. That's a hard balance. That's a hard balance to strike. And another word for that is boundaries.
I'm not in any of those phrases. I'm just talking about regular life with.
Yeah, it's just regular life. Yeah.
With regular people.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there has to be. I mean, there has to be some advice when, like a person, like me, you're raised balanced. You're raised with all those. I mean, that was just a natural part of life, and it's not. I know the boundaries, and I know to give without expectations, because that's the only way to give. Because it's like, okay, they're doing the best they can.
Mm-hmm.
But is there any advice to address? I mean, how to? I don't know, just reach another level where, or even, I don't know, attract people of the same like, because it seems like that is just not a normal characteristic of people, to be kind and generous and compassionate, or see what needs to be done and just do it.
So in that, what I would say is, and I would say this for everything, and I think it's as good advice for everybody, is if you're going to do something like that, understand your motivation. Understand what your intention is. Am I doing this because I feel guilted into doing it? Am I doing this, or why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I really just want to help this person, and I see that they're suffering and I want to help them? Am I doing it because I feel guilted into doing this, or because I feel like I should do it because there's some sort of cultural norm, or some sort of conditioning that I've had previously, maybe from my childhood, that I should do this? And so I always think understanding your intentions before you do anything is of utmost importance. And it's hard. It's a hard balance to strike. And whether it could just be regular life, or hey, thanks, or whether you're in a helping profession or not, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty much the same all the way around. It's hard. It's a difficult thing to do, and I struggle with it. We all struggle with it to some degree. And trial and error. And this practice is a lot of trial and error, seeing what works and experimenting with what works, I should say. Experimenting, I like that word better.
I just I wanted to comment that one of the things that kind of flooded into me as I was meditating this evening. I have been meditating for some time and it's grown and it's become more of a practice over time and stronger but has always been very specifically like a practice. Like I want to create a diligence about it. And I understand the benefits of it and, you know, whether it's physiology or spirituality, I've been working towards getting that a little bit stronger, but what has happened for me in the loving kindness meditation is that it's almost like going to swim practice, and then I get to go to the swim meet and really kind of, show off. And I feel this excitement about loving kindness. I know this sounds really bizarre, but it's because it feels very different. I don't do this meditation by myself. I've only been doing it with a group, and I appreciate the guidance that keeps me focused on sort of out of self, really about others, and even when I'm dedicating someone else's meditation towards myself, that love, it still feels very, just very freeing, and I had this overwhelming experience that it's almost like writing a gratitude list in the morning, which I like to do, but like I end up writing the same list of the same things often, and here where I try to sort of mix it up, I find this massive gratitude coming. It's like a huge gratitude list, and I don't know, it just feels very wonderful. And it overwhelms me every time I do this meditation. I feel just it's something different, and I'm grateful for it. And I just want to say thank you.
No, awesome. Thank you so much. And through when I first started doing this practice myself, I didn't feel anything. My heart wasn't there to feel anything. I couldn't. Those phrases, they just couldn't penetrate my heart. And over time, that turned out not to be the case, and I just kept up, right? And I think that one of the things we need to really get out of, and I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, is any kind of goal-based meditation. Goal-based meditation is just like, I'm meditating to get this, or to feel this way, or to, whatever. It can be really, really harmful, but that's the kind of cultural conditioning that we need to overcome. We're conditioned in this culture to get something.
Cause and effect. You do it, I get this because I did that.
And we see it a lot with Western meditators, especially Western monastics, when they hear about nirvana and enlightenment. They're just, it's called meditator's disease. Specifically, it's a real thing, and it's but Eastern monastics don't get it. A lot of the us regular folks, Western meditators don't really get it. But the Western monastics, when they hear about enlightenment, and they just like meditate like hardcore, and they get headaches and all these kind of illnesses, and because they have this kind of goal-based conditioning that they haven't overcome. And even us as regular kind of meditators, we can get milder kind of versions of this too, and I've certainly got that. But just do the practice and live your life, and try to be nicer and try to be kinder, and over time you'll see it works. And most of the time you won't even really realize that it's worked until like days or usually like months later. Like, oh man, I don't really get that upset about these things anymore, or something like that. Well, thank you guys. I'll take one more quick question.
One more, can you repeat the 4 phrases that you said he could say?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, may I be happy? May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for being here. It's wonderful to have you. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that we are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys. Wonderful to have you. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Oh, thanks, Marcel. That was the little one.
It's good. Months old now.
He's months old.
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months old.
Yeah, he's like twice as big.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for asking. How are you? How's your week?
Good, good, yeah.